Activate.
All right, everybody, welcome to This Pink Cloud. I am DJ. Oh, we get the sad music already?
You get the sad music.
Oh, well, I haven't even introduced myself.
I'm already sad.
Yeah, just because I introduced our show.
No,
I
just
introduced
'cause
our
you're
show.
here, dude. Just because you're here.
Anyway, we are a show that is all about recovery, multiple pathways to recovery. All kinds of good stuff. We are a judgment-free zone, I like to say. Do us a favor, please subscribe, smash that like button, bro.
Smash that like button if you want to see me hit a homeless guy with 1,000 bricks.
All right, dude. Yeah, please do that if you get a second. That guy right there that just...
What's your name? You still haven't even introduced yourself.
I did.
No, you
DJ
didn't.
Kelly Reverb.
Oh, okay.
Kelly Reverb. I'm a DJ. Hi. I am a DJ and I'm in recovery.
I'm a wrist piss.
What?
Wrist piss. RSPS is wrist
Oh, yeah.
piss.
RSPS, yes. A recovery support peer specialist.
Wrist piss.
That's right. A wrist piss.
A wrist piss.
Speaking of wrist piss, that is the one and the only Chad Lamons, everybody.
Woo!
Wee, wee. We can tell the caffeine levels gone into overdrive at a certain point, dude. Love it. Love having this guy in. Always a pleasure. I like to refer to him as the King of the North. Also, my favorite is the Charlie Manson of recovery.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dusty Burrows.
Thank you, Kelly, Chad, Andy. It's good to be here. It's good to be the therapeutic mediator today.
I love
Between
it.
the two of you, I feel like that's my
What
new
does that
role
say?
now.
What does it say on your shirt? Old school. Is that like Bert? Who is that?
It's this old bodybuilder. I think he's the one that used to use methamphetamine for pre-workout.
I love it. Okay.
True story. I think he was an Australian.
It
guy.
also looks
Yeah.
like Chinese propaganda or Russian propaganda.
Yeah, he only
The
had to work
rising
out
sun.
like 3 times a week because
Yeah.
he would work out so hard on the meth, he would just get incredible gains. I don't recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As a
Fair enough. Fair
professional.
enough. Well, I'm excited to have this young man on the show, but he is a comedian. He is actually out of Salt Lake City. Let's throw to that clip real quick.
It's true, though, man, and I'm clean and sober now, and people think that I don't use drugs, that I'm, against drugs, which isn't true. You know, I think every drug has a practical use. Like alcohol is a great disinfectant. Heroin is an amazing painkiller. Meth is perfect for when you need to disassemble the lawnmower and use its blades to kill the goblins that live in the wall. Not every Kid Rock fan is necessarily a meth addict, but every meth addict is definitely a Kid Rock fan.
I love that. I love that. So I was scrolling on the internet. I came across that, and I was like, I love it. I got to have this guy on. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Salt Lake City, Mr. Andy Gold.
With the hallelujah sound effect.
And with the angry,
With
angry Mel Gibson behind him. I love the angry Mel Gibson backdrop. That says it all. But thanks for coming on, bud. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me. Mike Mentzer, who is a big-time bodybuilder in the 80s, he only trained a few times a week as well, high-intensity training. He was a big believer in just training a few times a week at maximum intensity.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Did he do methamphetamines as well?
No, but he did. Lots of steroids.
Okay,
for sure.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Well, so tell us about this. Like, I was talking to you a little prior to the show, but as far as DJing and being a comedian, I mean, it's life on the road. So, give us a little bit of the backstory and then how you became a comedian.
How did I become a comedian?
Well, no, I mean, your backstory, your childhood growing up, and then how you got into the comedies.
Okay, backstory. So, born and raised in Salt Lake City. I've lived in the East Coast and the West Coast, but I've been back in Salt Lake for a couple of years.
Salt Lake City, I guess the question, everybody, are you Mormon?
I came up Mormon, but I didn't go too far with it though, because heroin
Okay.
brought it to a bit of a screeching halt.
Right.
So, I was a party kid. Partying and doing drugs just seemed way more fun to me than
Mormonism.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was always kind of the funny kid. I didn't like school. I didn't do well in school. I got good enough grades to play ball, but that was about it.
Right.
And how I got into comedy, my whole life, people were telling me I should be a comedian, but I never considered it because that's a stupid thing to do.
Right.
It's a really stupid idea.
Right.
But when I finally got clean, I had like multiple felonies. I didn't have a resume. I didn't go to college. So I was like, what the hell?
Right.
And I went to an open mic and tried it and sort of fell in love with it.
Oh, okay.
And it also gave me, something to do that was actually fun.
Right.
In early recovery.
Right.
Because I was so bored.
Sure. Well,
now I actually had something that's like, oh, cool. This is a cool thing to do that doesn't involve. Can I swear on this podcast?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, that doesn't involve getting fucked up.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, so let's hear like a little bit of the backstory on how how it happened. Like, I mean, how does a kid that's living in Salt Lake City, how do you find heroin in Salt Lake City? And then like, how does that happen? Like, oh, okay, I'm around a very Mormon upbringing, but then I'm just going to go ahead and try heroin. Or how does that work?
Well, I think there's misconceptions about Salt Lake City and Mormons. Salt Lake has just as high as a drunk driving rate as any other town. Mormons are people just like anybody else who are susceptible to, escaping life's challenges through drugs. It's against their religion, so they have added guilt.
Right.
But, they'll absolutely go out and get fucked up. And as far as finding heroin, I just always knew growing up that if you go down to the Rio Grande district in Salt Lake, that's where all the dope was.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was a big party kid and I got really into painkillers and got really into Oxycontin. And the only reason I got into heroin is because Oxycontin was way too expensive.
Sure.
And I was desperate and I couldn't find any Oxycontin. And I went down to the Rio Grande district, which is kind of like Salt Lake Skid Row. Right. Even today, it kind of is. And this guy on a bicycle rolled up on me.
I love it.
And he just kind of knew I was looking sickly and he opened his mouth and he had a bunch of baggies in there.
Okay.
And my dumb ass just said, heroin.
Sweet.
Yeah. I didn't know to say black yet. So I just go, I'd like some heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
Very uninformed. I'd like your finest heroin, my man.
Yeah. And, I remember this really distinctly. It was my first time buying heroin, but by that time I was already slamming Oxycontin, so I already had track marks.
Right. Okay.
So he looked at my track marks and he could be like, "Oh, well, he's just a naive Mormon kid, but he's a junkie, so he's not a cop." Yeah.
Right. So and then what year? Like, I mean, how old are you when you start using Oxycontin, and then how long does it take to go from there? From experimenting to full-on addiction.
So I started taking painkillers in the fall of 2002. I was a senior in high school, and they instantly became my favorite drug.
Right.
And I did every drug. I did cocaine. I did ecstasy. I smoked crack. I smoked meth. And painkillers became my favorite thing. And because they were like prescriptions, I didn't even view them as being nearly as bad as all the other shit I had done.
It's not illegal. So yeah.
Yeah. My friend said, "Oh, I got this from my mom." Like this
right.
The doctor prescribed this to my mom.
So then it can't be bad.
Right. The Mormon moms are taking this.
Right.
But you guys might have seen that whole documentary. Is this whole, when the DA put a chokehold on the pill distribution in Salt Lake City, you had all these Mormons who are now going to illegal drugs because of that. It was a wild documentary. You ever see that?
No, I had.
What was it called?
I don't know. I'll send it to you. I can find it for you. But yeah, it talked about the cartels actually infiltrating Salt Lake City after the DEA shut down all the major distribution of pills that was happening, because in that religion it was okay as long as you were getting painkillers through your doctor, you weren't sinning at all.
Yeah.
But then you had all these people that were physically dependent on it, and then that got shut down. And holy shit.
Right. Well,
we have a heroin problem.
I've seen like Dope Sick. I saw that documentary on it, and then I actually saw the one that was actually more the backstory of the makers of. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen that one.
This is an old documentary. Yeah, I'll try to find it. Send it to you guys.
Cool.
It's great.
There's a book called Dreamland where they talked about that as well.
Uh-huh.
And Salt Lake City was actually kind of a hub for some of the cartels. Yeah, they would send guys up here that would only stay in town for a few months at a time. So I had a revolving door of plugs when I was a junkie, but there was no shortage of heroin in Salt Lake City ever.
But it's funny because you don't really think of Salt Lake City, Utah as you think, El Paso, okay, that's a border town. There's all this stuff,
Dude, he said it was in the Rio Grande district in Utah, dude. That's a dead giveaway. Yeah, There's drugs there, man.
Well, okay, but anyway, you don't know anything about geography, so I won't go into that, Chad. But anyway, I'm just saying, I'm saying that Salt Lake City, Utah is not Okay, I'm gonna. Hey, wait, Kelly's gonna mispronounce something. I'm gonna step on his toes here real quick because he said the Rio Grande Valley, and it's. God, dude, you're really a fucking idiot, dude. You've just showcased it for the world. The fact that you're a fucking idiot. Anyway,
do you really think the world is listening to this podcast?
I think my dad and maybe about 30 other people are. Something like that.
Dusty just spit out his fucking Coke, dude.
I love it. Anyway. So back to the unassuming town of Salt Lake City not being the drug capital of America that you would think it might be,
Yeah, it's weird. I think people are kind of sometimes disappointed to learn that Salt Lake is just like any other city.
Yeah.
It's more fun to believe it's like this weird Mormon town where the people are kind of alien and different. And
right, and they go skiing. It's more fun to believe that. And then I have to tell people, no, it's just like any other city, and they're kind of like, oh, right.
I wanted
to retire at Salt Lake City one day, but now that it's like any other city, I'm out.
Yeah, it has a shady, shitty Skid Row area, just like any other place where you go to buy your dope after sacrament meeting.
So that was crazy. So basically, that was a thing going on, and I guess you got swept up in kind of what Dusty was talking about, as far as
I started taking painkillers recreationally. I was doing it to get fucked up. I wasn't one of these people who was taking them as prescribed and got addicted. I feel really bad for those people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But still, like that documentary Dope Sick, like they made OxyContin so prolific, prescribing it for everything. Like, I think that was originally meant for people who were dying of cancer to make a death more tolerable. It is a really powerful medicine, and they were prescribing it to people for toothaches and sprained ankles and shit that doesn't even really require anything.
You're you're mildly depressed. Let's get
I got it for erectile dysfunction once. And
did you?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Fuck no, it just makes it more limp, dude.
That would have the exact opposite effect. Opiates kill your sex drive.
Well, I know that was what was weird about it.
All right.
I'm looking for erectile dysfunction. They're like, I got a pill for you.
I would like that, and I would like a side of constipation as well.
Yes.
Doc, I just been shitting my brains out, man. You got anything to plug me up?
First off, I've been walking around with a boner and diarrhea for the
Yes.
last week.
I'm so goddamn backed up, my dick won't go down, brother.
I get really horny every time I shit, and you give me something. Like, oh my God. It's funny you should ask.
We've got the perfect thing for you, dude. That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
But so then you go from using like recreational, and then how long of a window is that until it's hey, let me find some heroin.
So I started taking
until it's
painkillers
me until it's me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
It was. I got a joke about that, man. About are you making a dick sucking joke right now?
No, but please go ahead. Now that you brought it up.
I hear that I'll bet you used to suck dick to get heroin. It's like most drug dealers didn't get into the business to get a beach from this fella.
Right?
They're never like, oh my God, I didn't make any money today. I didn't make any money, but I totally got a blowjob from some dude who looks like a bully from a 1990s Disney movie.
I got into this business to get BJs from people that are ex-Disney stars. That are slightly ginger and possibly Mormon adjacent.
Yeah, this cabbage patch looking son of a bitch. By 2004, I was doing heroin.
Okay.
So fall of 2002 got into painkillers, and graduated high school in 2003. And by the fall of 2003 is when I was spending several $100 a day on OxyContin, and it was not sustainable.
Wow.
And a few months later, I started doing heroin.
Right. Yeah. How does that go? Like, I mean, because you have no job, right?
No, I did. I made okay money as a young kid. So I worked for my family business at a garden center.
Okay.
And my dad was really hesitant about firing me, even though he knew I was a fuck up, because my older brother was also an addict.
Okay. Was he a heroin addict as well?
Opiates.
Okay. Yeah.
Never heroin, but he OD'd. He died in 2006.
Okay.
So, and my parents quit enabling him, and they did it right with him, and he still went off and died. So with me, they kind of took the opposite approach. Like, we're going to micromanage him, make sure he has a job, take care of him. And, that didn't work either. But I worked full time at my dad's garden center.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also started a landscaping business at age 20 or 19, because people would always come in and be like, hey, can you jokingly say, hey, can you plant this stuff for us too?
Right.
And I was like, I got all the tools and I know how to plant stuff. I know everything about horticulture.
Right.
So I said, hey, let's do a landscaping business to my dad. So I did that, worked full time. And I had no idea how much I made landscaping until my dad finally told me just like a year ago. I made $80,000 in a year.
That's pretty good. Yeah. For straight out of high school.
Yeah. But all of that, and then every cent I made working at the garden center.
Right.
And then plus that, I was doing all the junky shit. I was stealing coins out of people's ashtrays. I was stealing copper catalytic converters.
Right.
I had a Sawzall. I was stealing catalytic converters off of F-250s.
Nice.
So I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Right.
And heroin was so much cheaper.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah, it is.
OxyContin. So that's why a lot of people, my understanding, went to heroin. You can spend $60 on an 80 milligram pill or $10 on a balloon of heroin.
Right. Chad, why did you go to heroin?
I went to heroin because everybody around me said, "Hey, man, it's a good idea."
Hey, don't do it.
They said
everybody
Chad,
said don't do it.
They said I did me a little prayer thing one night, and he said, your logical next step and the best thing for you is probably get on heroin. And turns out I was talking to a wishing well that had been invaded by demonality.
Chad, you are cut off on caffeine.
Hell yeah. But no, it was introduced to me as morphine powder. And I had snorted the shit out of morphine because I got a fake leg, and I got on pain pills and all that.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't think it was anything, and then 3 months into buying it every day from this guy, he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, I got to go get it and make it." And those were the words I didn't want to hear, but I knew were coming.
Yeah.
Because he was, taking tar and making cheese heroin out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you're that deep in, it's like, well, here we go.
Right.
Get back on the highway.
Yeah.
Well, so, and then Chad, I mean, because I always say that Chad had a fantastic shelf life as a heroin user because not everybody can navigate it that long successfully. So how long was your quote unquote air quote successful use of heroin before it became I'm gonna die every day?
Pretty fast. So in addition to my landscaping business and the garden center and stilling everything, I was selling cocaine.
Oh, okay. Well, no, you're an enterprising young man, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I liked, this is the days of 50 Cent, man. And I was like, you got to hustle.
Yeah.
And in my stupid junkie brain, in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm out on the fucking grind, cousin. I'm yeah.
That's funny.
And then I sold to an undercover cop. My friend was arrested, and he turned snitch, and he called me up asking if I could give him some cocaine. And there was this guy in the car with him, this big black guy, and he turned out to be an undercover cop. And they didn't arrest me on the spot. Then they came to my door at my parents' house a few weeks later and arrested me on my dad's birthday.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah. And I knew this the year before then. I got my first charge as an adult driving high.
Okay.
Well,
let's hold on. You cut out for a second.
And
so you cut out for a second. So let's recap what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
After they showed up at Dad's house.
Oh, so this is the spring of 2004. They showed up and arrested me on my dad's birthday. And my dad was actually in Texas at the time with my brother. And oh shit, I got low battery, but I think I have enough.
Okay.
But a year before that, or less than a year before that, when I was still in high school, I was arrested for driving high.
Okay.
And because it was my first charge as an adult, they said, what we're going to do is if you plead guilty, we're going to hold your plea in abeyance. And if you go 1 year without getting in trouble again, it's going to be washed away from your record.
Right.
But if you do get in trouble, we're going to charge you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sitting there cuffing me. And it's these two narcotics officers dressed like street guys. But one was dressed like the rapper Baby Bash. And they were trying to act like all cool. Like, where can you help us find the chronic, man? Like trying to get me to snitch.
Right.
But as they're cuffing me, I know I'm about to catch this felony. And in addition to that, oh shit, I have that guilty plea that's being held in abeyance from 10 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, to answer your question, it started being like, oh shit.
We got a problem.
Yeah, because I think my whole life just got fucking ruined.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, so
This
then what?
is like,
So then what happens after these two guys come and arrest you?
they interrogate me like right there in the neighborhood, trying to get me to snitch on who I was getting my cocaine from. And I wouldn't, and it's not because I'm some hard ass. It's just that I happen to know that it doesn't actually do shit for you.
Right.
The cops can lie through their teeth. They can say, if you help us out, we'll help you out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they don't really do that. You can snitch for nothing. So I went to jail. Oh my God, dude. I have actually been telling this story on stage for the first time. My comedy style is like really jokey, but I've been telling this story. And I'm sitting there in the tank, which is a co-ed holding area when you're waiting to make your phone call and everything. And I'm just then starting to go through withdrawals a little bit. And I finally kind of bite the bullet and call my dad. And there's this fucking just disgusting drunk hag in the tank. She looked like the bathtub lady from The Shining. Just,
nice. I am well
this
aware
methy,
of that.
Yeah, Angus Young looking monster, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm talking to my dad, she sneaks up behind me and pulls her shirt up and rubs her disgusting old lady titties all over me.
No.
Yeah. And
Okay.
there's this tweaker guy that's pointing and laughing,
Uh
saying, "Oh my God, she's rubbing her titties on my boy."
huh.
And I'm talking to my dad, telling him what's happening.
Uh
And my dad's like, none of this would have ever happened if you just would have, stayed in church and gone on a mission.
huh. Right.
And I'm just like, he's actually right. But I don't want to do the Mormon thing.
Right.
And then I say to the guard, okay, just take me into jail. And they march me into the jail.
Right.
And they put me in a cell with this dude with a swastika tattooed on his scalp. And he's like a neo-Nazi, but he has a black scent.
Okay. A black scent.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm just like, this fucking blows so bad. And then my dad finally bailed me out after a few days.
Okay.
And I got on drug court. Luckily, I didn't do any time, but they put me on drug court,
Uh huh.
which you get tested a few times a week and you have to go to a court-appointed meetings and everything.
Right.
And I started taking methadone while I was in drug court because they couldn't test for methadone.
Right. Well, and
And-
also that can be doctor prescribed as well. I mean, that's
Doctor prescribed.
Yeah.
And that's when the physiological addiction went to a whole different level, dude, because methadone is gnarly as shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard.
And-
yeah.
Yeah. And they let you go as high as you want, dude. And I got up over 120 milligrams.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's heroin withdrawals were brutal, but methadone withdrawals were just pure agony,
Right.
dude. Yeah. Because it gets into your bones. You could feel muscle
and
aches in your bones.
and it's how it's chemically made. It's, to have a longer shelf life. So it definitely gets in there,
There's
Yeah.
a big difference for me for between heroin withdrawals and then any sort of buprenorphine or methadone withdrawals is because with heroin, yeah, you could go score or whatever, but it's not immediate access. With methadone and Suboxone or whatever, if you just say the right fucking thing, you can get more.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
that's when
exactly.
it takes over a mental. It's completely mentally different than just being able to score heroin. So
All right. So, hey, yeah, dude, if you are looking for an injury attorney, be sure and hit up our boy Max the Axe at thispinklawyer.com. If you go to that website, it will take you to his website, Lone Star Injury Attorneys. He practices in Texas and California, so be sure and hit him up. He's a good dude, right, Chad?
he's a good dude.
He's good people.
He's a good guy.
He's a good fella.
He's a real good guy.
And he's named Max the Axe.
His name rhymes with 2 words.
With 2 words?
With 2 words.
With
2
axe?
different words rhyme.
Max?
Max and axe. And it's only 1 word
You've-
between them.
You've lost it. You've lost it. Anyway, and then also we've got some new tunes out. So Chadwick, why don't you take it away with those?
Bodies, 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 bodies. I love the way my body's moving. Bodies, 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 bodies. I love the way my body's moving to the beat. I love the way you're slowly getting close to me.
All right, and that is some of our new stuff. If you want to find those, you can actually go to my SoundCloud. So soundcloud.com, Kelly Reverb, and that Rolling Stone one is on there. Also, the 9 Inch Nails one is on there, those remixes. And then Closer and then Flashback are our new singles, and those are on Spotify and everywhere like that. And Chad's getting ready to say a lame joke.
Dude,
Go ahead.
you just showed the entire world you're a fucking idiot, dude.
Yeah? Okay. Because you were gonna say a lame joke.
I wasn't, dude.
Yeah, you were
I
gonna say,
wasn't.
"Oh, Kelly did the lyrics on closer."
That sounds
You
like
were-
something you would say, dude.
That sounds like something you
Sounds
said
like
last
some sort of past
last
trauma,
episode.
dude. That's
Anyway.
where you basing experience in the current based on past
What-
experiences.
what-
That's really
listen,
unfair for you to
sure-
do, dude.
Can I get a little feelings here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'd like you guys to share some more feelings.
Yeah, man. Kelly needs some therapy, dude. You should call him. Hell yeah.
There you go. You really told me, Chad.
Oh, no, I'm telling you, I'm telling your new therapist, dude.
Good job. All right. So anyway, back to Andy and his heroin use in Salt Lake City. Are you there with us, Andy?
I sure am.
Okay.
The corded headphones actually have a better mic. That's why I was using those. They don't.
Understood.
The sound quality isn't as good as the newest ear pods, but yeah, the corded mics here actually have a better microphone. But I had to take them out and plug in my phone because the battery was running low. So
that happens.
pretty fascinating stuff. Awesome.
Actually, that is very fascinating. Why don't you tell us more technical information, please?
Well, Apple was founded by a guy named Steve Jobs.
Okay.
But a lot of people feel that his partner Wozniak was the real brains of the operation, and Steve Jobs was merely a grifter with charm and charisma, whereas Wozniak was kind of this
I think you might be
turtle-looking
right.
son of a
Actually.
bitch.
I'm
yeah.
totally in on that, dude. Hey, so speaking of that, like, I wanted to show the people because, like, how I came across your Instagram profile was. It's basically a picture of a child came up, and it said roasting.
That's not a good
and
look.
it said roasting kids, and I was like, okay, I'll bite. So then I start watching it, and I go through, and I love the fact that they're not PC. They're not the most PC thing, but and I think they're hilarious. But Chad has a couple of them here, just so people can know, and we can advertise your actual Instagram profile.
Wow, you can almost smell the cat piss coming from this photo. This girl has definitely spent a lot of time sitting on the dirty carpet of a methadone clinic playing with a one-legged Barbie doll waiting for mommy to get her morning medicine. Yeah, no kid, we would have believed you if you said you had a pet rat. You don't need to show it to us. Congratulations on your future as a GameStop employee, by the way. Oh, cool. It's trans fat Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Well, very nice. This kid took time off his busy schedule of building dams in a river to have his photo taken. Yeah, this kid will never have to worry about buying a chainsaw, can opener, bottle opener. Gotta be reassuring to know that he can always get a side job singing Zippity Doo-Dah with the animatronic animals at Splash Mountain in Disneyland. Wow, this kid brings roadkill to show and tell. This kid raises his hand every 2 minutes in science class, asking when it's time to dissect the frog. Holy, it looks like somebody's parents were a couple of failed actors. This little girl looks like she's going to sell you cocaine at Studio 54. Kid, chill out. The McRib is coming back. There's no reason to start worshiping the devil.
So I love those, man. I was like, oh, cool. And then I saw that little sobriety clip of you, and I was like, oh, cool, man. This guy will maybe do the show. So how did you, like, come up with the concept for roasting children? Because I know we all quietly do it in our head. We'll see that picture of even myself from the 80s, and I'll be like, oh, dude, that kid looked like, I refer to a period in my time as the Conway Twitty years, because I had such a beautiful coiffure.
You know what, man? I was just on my phone fucking around, and I clicked on a link called Funny Yearbook Photos, and looked at some of these silly-looking kids, and I just thought, oh, it would be funny to make fun of these kids on Instagram.
Right.
And that was all. That was all there is to it. A bunch of people have commented, like, how did you get into this? I go, I just thought it would be funny to make fun of kids. Like,
right.
There wasn't a big, like, light bulb moment.
Right.
And then people started submitting me their photos.
Oh, yeah.
And some are better than others. Some are really funny. And then some, there's not much to roast.
Right.
Like, it's mostly hot women who they're just used to every man being like, going along with what they say.
Uh-huh.
And they send me their childhood photos, and it's like totally normal looking kids, of course.
Right.
There's nothing to roast. And then one woman sent me a mugshot of the guy who molested her. And she was like, you should roast this guy. He molested me. And I was like, yeah. And then one lady sent me a picture of her autistic daughter saying, this is my daughter. She's autistic. Roast her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, go ahead. Finish.
But yeah, some of them just like, I got nothing. Like a lady sent me a picture of her dog, like just a normal looking golden retriever. And she's like, roast my dog.
Right. That's
Like,
funny. You should do like a Patreon for that, like where you roast on request.
I think I'm going to, actually.
Yeah.
Especially with the holidays coming up. So, yeah.
Right.
The Cameo app.
Yeah, the Cameo. Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I will take 10% of that for coming up with the concept.
There's this girl with Tourette syndrome that has the Cameo, and I totally want to get that for my girlfriend. So she got really, legit Tourette's, but she's so hilarious.
Right.
Oh, shit. I went to treatment. I have a bit about it of a woman I went to treatment with who has Tourette's.
Well, let's hear it.
No, I'm not going to do my bit for you. I'll tell you the premise. It's about how I didn't know, and she was doing the Twitch shit. And I was like, yo, can you stop doing that? And then she said, I think it's on my Instagram somewhere. It's on my first Dry Bar special, so it's somewhere out there.
Right, yeah.
So I'm surprised they'll let me do that bit. You were talking about stuff that's not PC. That's what the kids would call ableist today. That's very ableist.
Yes,
right.
Making fun of.
Well, and I think, I mean, I was going to ask you about, like, as far as, the whole Karen culture and the whole cancel culture thing. Like, I mean, how many people have come to you and gone, oh, this is just deplorable and you shouldn't be talking to people like that? And
a ton.
Yeah.
Pretty much every video I make, I get a notification immediately after from Instagram saying, yeah, this is not eligible for monetization.
Right.
So, my God, everything's demonetized.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who comment like, yeah, making fun of, and even when I tell them the majority of the photos are submitted to me.
Yeah.
One guy, I said all of the photos on this particular video were submitted to me.
Sure.
People sent me their childhood photos.
Yeah, want you to make fun of them.
And instead of just being like, oh, my bad, he like pivoted into something else to be offended by. He goes, well, the thing is, there could be copycats who are going to be making fun of other kids. I'm like, Jesus, you're coming up with hypotheticals to be offended about now.
Right.
The thing you wanted to be upset about isn't real. And instead of just being like, oh, damn, my bad, you pivot into an imaginary thing and say, well, I'm going to be pissed about this now. Yes, what a way to live.
I'm going to be pissed about something that could potentially happen out of you making fun of people.
Welcome to 2023.
Right.
Oh, it's 2023, man.
But I also think that doesn't really affect you unless you let it,
Yeah.
Because I really think most people are laid back and they have a sense of humor.
Right.
I think you shouldn't as a comedian, you really can't get too wrapped up in that and bitch about cancel culture. It's fun to talk shit for sure. I'm down to talk shit on it anytime.
Right.
But I don't want to let it get me down or affect what I'm going to put out there as far as content goes. Because at the end of the day, I kind of think it's inconsequential. They don't matter.
Right.
They're
gonna find something to get mad about.
They're not hurting me.
Yeah. No, I get it. And then, so do you currently? Do you currently have specials out right now? And if so, where can people see those?
Well, it's with something called Dry Bar Comedy. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I haven't.
They do clean. Yeah, I have two of them that I do clean. I'm not really a clean comedian, but I have two specials with Dry Bar, and they do clean comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And my first special with them, I actually detest. I hate it so much.
Okay.
Because like 2 weeks before the special, the guy called me up and he's like, so you have to work clean? And I said, yeah. He's like, we also don't want you doing anything mean. And I was like, fuck.
That's my entire fucking act, you asshole.
Dude. So I cut out like 20 jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And my first special, to compensate, to fill the time, I'm like going really slow. The pacing is just and when I'm finished, I'm like, well, there's no way they're going to release that piece of shit. And they did.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, God.
Right.
So it's out there, and I really hate it.
And now I'm going to
And
start
then-
an Instagram channel where I just roast that comedy special of you.
Okay, you should. You want to hear something funny?
Let's see.
Like people who got in there, the internet gets all the hate comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people would get on there who hated the special and be like, this fucking sucks. I hate this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then people would be like, no, I think he's great. I love him. And then I would defend my haters.
Right.
And reply.
I love that.
I'd reply to the person who likes me. I'd be like, no, you're wrong. This lady's right. I suck. You have bad taste.
But as yourself.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And then so then the second comedy special is one you would recommend.
Yeah, that one's called Addicted to Comedy. I like that one a lot better. I think it is better.
And
Yeah.
is it on YouTube as well, or is it just exclusively on Dry Bar Comedy?
So the full special, there's clips of it on YouTube, but I think the full special is just on Dry Bar.
Okay, and is it like a pay-per-view or?
Yeah, I think you subscribe for X amount of dollars per month.
I got
It's a streaming service.
Right.
And then I think they have a bunch of like Jesus content and stuff, like baptism content.
Okay.
You want to watch?
Sweet.
It's like, it's for like Bible moms.
Okay.
And
I love it then.
And both my specials are just about heroin. So I don't know how
I'm looking
know
for some heroin.
It's a redemption
content.
story.
Yeah. I don't know how. Yeah, they love a good redemption story. I think that's why. But the act isn't really about redemption. It's just about stupid shit I did on heroin. And
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of that, then I'm assuming you tour as a comedian as well.
Yeah, I go on the road a couple times a month. Usually, actually, my bread and butter is doing recovery gigs for it. I just went to Boise and did an NA convention, and before that, I did Laughs in Tucson, 4 shows. That was just a regular general population show, but
Right.
I do a ton of recovery conventions, NA and AA and the whole thing.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
who knows?
those are-
Maybe we'll get you to Dallas out of this show because we do have some people that actually do the NA conference here in Dallas, and they actually watch this show. They're one of the 2 people that actually.
What's
watch
the
it.
energy like at a sober show versus a drinking show?
They're the best. Conventions are the best, man. It's a bunch of people who are enthusiastic, but they're sober, so they're actually attentive. And they're just like full of gratitude and there to have a good time. Because so much of early recovery is about structure and work and getting your shit together. And I think there's a real hunger just to have a good time and laugh, man. It's a group of people who you can't offend.
Right. Yeah.
They're down for all of it.
Right.
It's like if you don't get a standing ovation at a recovery convention, then you suck.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's the low hanging fruit of the comedy circuit.
Yeah,
Show
dude.
some love.
Hey, so question, I wanted to ask you about this. Also, we never really got into, your solution, like how you did. We just got to kind of the shit show. And then how did you find recovery and achieve recovery?
Yeah, so I went to treatment. My family had an intervention in the hospital when I overdosed on October 21st, 2009. And I was in the ICU for a week. And,
Did you have an NDE, like as far as that you can recollect, like near-death experience?
Yes, I did. In fact, what they tell me was I was gone for a little bit.
Right. Okay.
So
do you remember
it
any of that? Like what the other side was like?
No, and that fucked with me for a long time. There was no white light for me.
Right. Okay.
And that really, really fucked with me.
That pretty much means you're going to hell. So.
Yeah, dude. Probably.
No, I'm just kidding.
And I have fleeting memories of the day they took me into the hospital. Like the doctors, after they gave me the Narcan, they had to strap me down because I didn't know where I was or what was going on, and I was like fighting them. It was crazy, and oh Jesus, they came. This was on my grandma's birthday, so I got arrested on my dad's birthday and overdosed on my grandma's birthday.
Well, you're very thoughtful.
No shit. And, you know, when you call the paramedics for an overdose, they bring fire trucks, police squad cars. It's a whole scene.
Oh, it's a parade.
Yeah, and all of my parents' Mormon neighbors came out to be like, "What's going on?" And out of concern, they followed me to the hospital, and they're like watching me scream at these doctors, like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, let me go." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, like this is something else."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I went to treatment, and for me, there was no before and after moment of clarity. It was a subtle progression of giving recovery a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
just it was almost an act of faith. Like I can't imagine ever getting clean. I'm a piece of shit who doesn't deserve to be clean. I'm evil, but who knows? Maybe something good will come of it.
Right.
And it was very much one day at a time. And I got out of treatment and I got the Vivitrol shot in my ass because I knew I was going to use again.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted for about 90 days. And my distinct like breakthrough moment was actually when I already had about 3 months clean, when I realized since I've gotten clean, I haven't lied, I haven't stolen,
Right.
I haven't manipulated. And I'm like, oh damn, maybe I'm actually not a piece of shit.
Right.
Like maybe when I'm clean and I'm my real self, and that was a light bulb. Like, oh my God, am I actually an okay person? I think I am.
Right.
I think I might be an okay person.
Right.
And that was a breakthrough. I'm like, okay, well, now that I know I'm an okay person, it's worth putting in some more effort. And then it was still one day at a time, and I just needed something to do in my life that was a little exciting and a little fun.
Right.
And when I had 6 months clean, I went to an open mic for the first time
Right.
and just fell in love with comedy, man.
Sure.
And now that was the first time after my first open mic
Mm-hmm.
where I didn't find myself constantly thinking about heroin, and I was thinking about comedy.
Right. Well,
You know,
I mean,
thinking about something else to do.
there is a a release to comedy as well. A dopamine release to that whole A, getting it up in front of an audience, and then B, succeeding in front of that audience.
Yes, absolutely. And as the months went by, it reinforced my newfound point of view of me not being a piece of shit. Because here I am, showing up to gigs on time, doing the job they're paying me to do, being dependable,
Mm-hmm.
you know, finding something that I was good at and that I was also doing ethically,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, sure.
And
It didn't.
it was like,
It didn't require a sawzall.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. It didn't, the whole thing wasn't fueled by me being a total scoundrel.
Right.
Yeah, even though maybe some of my jokes are like abhorrent, I
Right.
make fun of kids,
Sure.
but you know, it's an improvement.
Right.
I mean, don't you guys see that a lot though? It's like you get into recovery and you know, you see people that have been sober a long time, they're still kind of miserable, but those folks, whether
Yes.
it's a month later, 6 months, or a year later, they tap into that purpose, and then that fire is there, and then there's just no stopping them. It doesn't mean their life's going to be perfect after that, but whatever setbacks don't keep them down. They just keep
Sure.
rocking and rolling because they
Yeah.
tapped into that purpose.
Well, it's kind of like me and Chadwick with the
Yeah.
music, right, buddy?
Hey, man, are you about to say something nice to me?
No.
Hell, I'm going to go
No,
cry.
I was going to say it's kind of like the music too with me and Chad because we were doing it prior to we were both in our active addiction when we were producing music, but now that we've gotten clean and figured stuff out, it's it's become more of a passion, and we've definitely kind of what you were saying, Dusty, as far as just forward, full steam ahead.
Yeah, it's creating that life you don't want to run from.
Right.
Yeah, and like it's
Yes.
it's pretty cool today because like I just get to, all I do is talk shit, make music, and help people. And as long as I help people, I will continue to talk shit and make music. You know what I mean? And that's like I get to do whatever I want to do, and somehow things always work out right now. Check back with me
And
in
you-
like 3 years, and that'd be could be a different story, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've
it can-
get lit a fire
I'm
under my
sorry.
ass, like he was saying. No, you're good.
But it can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be something as cool as comedy or music,
Right.
But
Yeah.
After when I got clean, the jobs I got to subsidize comedy because my dad retired was mostly working at treatment centers because I had felonies, and that's like the only place that'll hire you if you have felonies.
Yeah.
And clients found something in welding, becoming an electrician, a trade, something that wasn't just staying clean for the sake of staying clean.
Right.
I think that's so key to be one of those dry motherfuckers that we all see.
Yeah. Sure.
Where basically they're just, well, I'm not doing anything to actually be in recovery. I'm just not using.
Yeah. Right.
And God, they're miserable.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can
and I'm like, you might as well use.
Right.
Of course, I don't mean, but
right.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
See these,
it's what's the point if you're not creating something?
Yeah, you got to find something.
That's
something
what I
that
always.
Gives you a reason
that's
to get
why
up.
I always say, why, I didn't get clean to be miserable. You know what I mean?
And there's something cool.
Exactly.
Like once you get sober and you're in recovery or whatever, you can turn any mundane, normal human thing into a part of your recovery because like you didn't get to experience it that way. So like finding a trade or whatever, like all of that can work towards your recovery if you just repackage it in your mind that way. It's the same mental gymnastics we were doing. We were getting high and manipulating people.
Yes, totally.
Manipulating ourselves.
Yeah.
And when you realize you can't do that thing if you're using, that helps too.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're not going to be able to continue doing this thing that you love if you pick up and use.
Right. Well, hey, Andy, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on and then also see if there was anything else you wanted to plug or just have people go to your Instagram. Do you have a TikTok? What's out there?
I'm not on TikTok. I tried doing the kid roasting thing on TikTok, but they kept taking it down. So, fucking communists, man.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So I deleted it.
Yeah.
Instagram is where I'm most active. And then I have a Facebook page too. I have about as many followers on Facebook as I do Instagram.
Okay.
But Instagram is where I post my funny stuff. Facebook, I just post show dates and what have you. So Andy Gold at Andy Gold Comedy. I think if you just type in Andy Gold, you'll find me.
Yeah, and I'll put the link in the description as well. But yeah, dude, I applaud what you are doing, making fun of children, and I think it's great, and I love the fact that it's mostly people actually you're not sniping some poor kid. It's like, here, dude, make fun of me,
And all the kids are adults now.
Yeah, I know, and
and it's like, if you can't laugh at a goofy childhood picture of yours, my God, you must be awful.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I will.
If you take yourself that seriously, it's like, don't laugh at my goofy childhood.
I never took a goofy picture. I never had an awkward stage in my life. I'll send you a picture of Chad. Me.
Oh, what we should do? We should send him the picture of my mugshot, the crazy one.
Oh well.
Shit!
I'll send him a couple.
Bro, yeah,
dude, that's a good idea. Roasting mugshots.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
I'll be your first. Shit. I'll be your first victim, dude. I'm happy with that.
No, but Andy's now into the mugshot thing because he's like, oh, cool. It doesn't sound as bad as roasting kids.
Yeah, that's a good.
But roasting felons and prisoners, that's okay. Hey, TikTok might even get behind that, dude.
I got a few mug shots of my own, dude. I'll get those up there.
Right. But yeah, no, we'll send you some stuff, and if you want to put together, we can probably edit it in the show afterwards.
All right. Yeah, send them on over.
All right, dude. Well, thanks a lot for being on. Thanks a lot for actually being responsive, and dude, keep doing what you're doing, dude. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, you guys, and hopefully I make it down to Dallas.
All right.
All right. Yeah, definitely. I'll shoot this out to the person that does the NA conference, and we'll try to get you booked here in Dallas. That'd be great.
Oh my God, I would love that. That'd be great.
Fantastic. All right, thanks for coming on, Dusty Burrows. As always, a pleasure.
Good to be here.
You. Yeah.
Big shout out to sessionswellnessgroup.com.
Yeah.
For letting me be here.
Love it. Thanks. And then Chadwick, as always. I see that you've run out of caffeine for the day, so it'll be somber.
He's got some more in his backpack.
I don't. That was it.
No, that's when he hits me up for my Mio.
He's got Mio, dude. I'll be fine.
Like, Kelly's always got Mio.
How did I say that? Say it one more time.
Kelly's always got Mio. Cow sauce got me. Huh? But anyway, thanks for coming on. Next week we have Todd coming on the show. He's doing some HNIs. Excited to have him on. But remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Activate.